Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive with us.
It's great to be here.
Today we're going all the way to Nigeria,
Ooh, Nigeria.
where a story about a stolen Christmas bird has taken the internet by storm.
A Christmas bird, huh?
Yeah.
What kind of bird are we talking about here?
Well, that's part of what makes this deep dive so interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Think you know what to expect from a story like this?
Stolen bird probably for dinner, right?
Well, think again. This isn't just about a missing meal.
Oh, there's more to it.
It's giving us a peek into a whole other world of traditions, beliefs, and even the economics of celebrating Christmas in a different culture.
I love it when a seemingly simple story has all these layers.
Me too.
No.
All right, so picture this.
Okay, I'm visualizing.
A pastor in Nigeria discovers that his Christmas fowl, which he was saving for a big holiday feast, has been stolen.
Oh no, that's terrible.
And his response,
I'm guessing he didn't just shrug it off.
he grabs a microphone and a public address system
Whoa.
and takes to the streets.
Now that's not something you see every day.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty powerful image, and I think it speaks volumes about the role of public pronouncements in this community.
Yeah, you don't really see that kind of thing in a lot of other places.
Exactly. So he's out there with his microphone announcing the theft to the whole neighborhood.
Making sure everyone knows.
But then it gets even more interesting.
More interesting than a pastor on a loudspeaker.
He starts pronouncing curses on whoever stole the bird.
Curses. Whoa.
Talk about taking a stand, right?
That's intense.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's where understanding the cultural context is so crucial.
Right, because in some cultures that might seem like a totally over-the-top reaction.
Yeah, exactly. In many Nigerian communities, invoking spiritual power, that carries a lot of weight.
It's not just words, it's about something bigger.
Exactly. It's about shame, reputation, and potentially a very real belief in the consequences of those curses.
So it's a way of upholding social order almost.
You could say that.
Yeah.
It really makes you realize how differently things can play out in different parts of the world. But you want to know the detail that really got people talking online?
Lay it on me.
This wasn't just any ordinary chicken.
Oh, really?
The pastor claimed he paid N$30,000 for this fowl.
N$30,000 for a chicken.
There he sounds crazy, right?
That's a lot of money for poultry.
It is. That's over $40, which is a significant amount of money in Nigeria.
Especially considering many people earn a lot less than that in a month.
Exactly. So this wasn't just some random bird from the backyard.
This was a serious investment.
It must have been destined for a truly epic Christmas dinner.
I can only imagine. And that price tag really sheds light on the economic realities of the holiday season, not just in Nigeria, but globally.
It's true, we often talk about holiday spending in a general sense, but this story really brings it home.
Yeah, it makes it real.
Food, especially during celebrations, can be a major expense for families everywhere.
No doubt about it.
So we've got a pastor, a missing Christmas fowl worth a small fortune, and a public outcry complete with curses.
It's like a recipe for a viral story.
It really is. It's no wonder this thing blew up online.
So how did people react?
Well, that's what's so fascinating. The social media reactions to the story were all over the place.
The internet loves a good story.
It's like a window into how a society processes news and forms opinions.
What were some of the reactions you saw?
I was reading through some of the comments on the original Instagram post, and it was a mix of everything.
Like what?
Some people were amused by the pastor's dramatic response.
Understandable.
Others expressed empathy for his situation, and then there was this whole wave of suspicion directed at anyone and everyone.
Oh, the internet detectives were on the case.
Oh, absolutely. People were coming up with their own theories about who might have done it and why.
It's amazing how quickly people jump into those detective roles.
You said it. It also shows how social media can amplify both humor and skepticism in a way that traditional media just can't.
Yeah, there's something about the immediacy and the anonymity of the internet that really brings out those reactions.
It's true. Speaking of skepticism, some people online questioned whether the fowl was really worth that much money.
Really?
Yeah, do you think those doubts reveal something deeper about how we perceive economic realities in different parts of the world?
It's an interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if those doubts stem from a lack of understanding about cost of living variations around the world, or maybe just a general mistrust of information online.
Maybe it's a combo of both.
Probably. I mean, it's easy to be skeptical when you're sitting behind a keyboard.
It's like everyone's an expert from their couch.
Exactly. But here's what I find really intriguing. This seemingly simple story about a stolen bird has sparked so much discussion.
It really has. Why do you think that is?
Perhaps it's the unexpected combination of elements, the religious aspect, the holiday setting, the economic disparity, and the pastor's very public reaction.
It's like a perfect storm of viral ingredients.
It is. It's a story that taps into something universal, the desire for justice, the importance of tradition, and the way we find humor even in the most unusual situations.
It really makes you think about the power of storytelling, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
How something seemingly mundane can become a window into a whole other culture and spark conversations about much bigger issues.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive, right?
You got it.
Yeah.
But before we go too far down that road, I want to hear from you, our listener.
Yes, chime in, folks.
What are your initial thoughts on all of this? What stands out to you? What questions are swirling around in your mind right now?
Is there a detail that really caught your attention?
Do you think the fowl was stolen out of desperation? Was it an act of mischief? Or could there be something even more complex at play here?
We want to hear your theories. It's amazing, isn't it, how this one incident has people wearing all these different hats, like detective economist, cultural commentator, all at the same time?
It really shows you how much one story can reveal about us, right?
For sure. And while we're on the topic of culture, this story also brings up some interesting questions about the role of religion in Nigerian society.
Yeah, it's not every day you hear about a pastor using a public address system to pronounce curses.
Right, exactly.
What do you think that says about the community and the pastor's position within it?
Well, it suggests that religion holds a significant influence there, and not just in terms of spiritual beliefs, but also when it comes to social order and justice.
Interesting.
Yeah. The pastor's actions, while maybe unconventional to some, might be seen as a way of upholding those moral standards and seeking some kind of restitution within that specific context.
That's a really interesting perspective.
It is.
And it makes you realize that our own cultural backgrounds definitely shape how we interpret these kinds of events.
Oh, absolutely.
But let's not forget about the fowl itself.
Star of the show.
Right, that M30,000 price tag. What kind of Christmas dinner was this bird destined for?
That's a question I've been thinking about too. We know that Christmas is a major celebration in Nigeria, often involving these large family gatherings and elaborate feasts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So could this fowl have been a special breed, maybe known for its size or flavor?
It's possible, right? I mean, maybe it was meant to be the centerpiece of the whole meal, a symbol of abundance and generosity.
I could see that.
Imagine the disappointment, not to mention the financial loss for the pastor and his family.
Absolutely. It goes way beyond a simple theft.
Yeah.
This fowl represented something much bigger.
Yeah, you're right. Something tied to those cultural traditions and the joy of sharing a special occasion with loved ones.
Exactly.
It really highlights how much emotional weight is often attached to food, especially during the holidays.
Food is love.
It really is. And speaking of emotions, the social media reactions to this story were a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, we talked about the humor and the suspicion, but there was also a noticeable amount of empathy for the pastor.
There was a lot of that.
It's actually heartwarming to see that amid all the jokes and the detective work, people also express genuine concern for the pastor's situation.
It's true.
It shows a sense of community and a shared understanding even online.
Yeah, I was struck by how many comments focused on offering support or advice to the pastor.
Like what kind of advice?
Suggesting ways to find the thief, or even offering to replace the stolen fowl.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is. That outpouring of support speaks volumes about the human capacity for empathy and the desire to help others, even strangers, in times of need.
It's a good point. It's a reminder that amidst the negativity that often dominates online spaces, there's also a powerful current of kindness and compassion.
It's a good reminder that there's more to the online world than just memes and arguments.
For sure.
There's a real sense of community and connection, too.
Definitely. But let's shift gears for a second and put ourselves in the thief's shoes.
Okay.
If you were the one who took the fowl, what would you be thinking and feeling right now?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Right? Would you be consumed by guilt? Fearing the repercussions of that curse? Would you try to rationalize your actions, maybe driven by desperation or hunger?
Or maybe you'd be feeling a mix of both remorse for the theft, but also a sense of relief at having secured a meal for yourself or your family.
It's complex, right? There are no easy answers.
Definitely not.
And it forces us to confront some uncomfortable questions about poverty crime and the choices people make when faced with those really difficult circumstances.
This brings us back to the point you made earlier about understanding the socioeconomic context.
Right.
We can't just look at this story as a simple case of theft. We have to consider those larger forces at play.
Exactly.
The economic disparities, the pressure to provide for one's family, and even the cultural norms that might influence behavior.
It's a reminder that even these seemingly straightforward events can have layers of complexity beneath the surface.
Oh, like an onion.
Yeah. And it challenges us to move beyond judgment and seek a deeper understanding of the motivations and circumstances that drive human actions.
This deep dive has taken us from a stolen Christmas fowl to a discussion about religion, economics, social media, and even human psychology.
It's amazing how one story can spark such a wide-ranging exploration.
It really is. It speaks to the interconnectedness of our world and the power of storytelling to reveal those connections.
It does. But before we wrap up, I'd like to pose a question to our listener.
Ooh, I love where this is going. What's on your mind?
Imagine for a moment that you're the pastor. The story of your stolen fowl has gone viral. You've pronounced your curses, and now you're left to deal with the aftermath. What would your next move be?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's a tough spot to be in.
It is, right?
Do you double down on the curses or take a different approach?
It's a decision with real consequences.
Yeah.
Not only for his reputation within the community, but also for the potential for reconciliation.
Right.
Would offering forgiveness be seen as a sign of weakness or a gesture of compassion?
It's a tough call. It really puts you in the pastor's shoes, doesn't it?
It does.
Having to weigh those options and consider all those ripples.
And I think it's a reminder that leadership, especially in a religious context, often involves navigating those really complex social dynamics.
Right.
It's about balancing competing values.
It's a balancing act for sure. But, beyond the pastor's dilemma, there's another piece of the story I find super intriguing.
What's that?
The stolen fowl itself.
Oh yeah. We've been so focused on the human drama that we haven't really talked about what happened to the bird.
What do you think happened to it?
It's hard to say for sure, right?
Yeah.
Was it consumed immediately out of necessity? Or was it sold off for a profit?
Maybe it's still out there somewhere.
Maybe a living reminder of this whole ordeal.
It's kind of funny how this one bird has become such a symbol
Of so
many things, cultural traditions, economic disparities, the complexities of human behavior.
It really is. It's a reminder that even the smallest details could be so significant, and that every story has so many layers waiting to be peeled back.
So many layers. This deep dive has been quite the journey, hasn't it?
It has. We started with a seemingly simple story about a stolen Christmas fowl, and ended up talking about everything from religion and economics to social media and the psychology of theft.
It's amazing what one story can unlock, right?
It is. It speaks to the interconnectedness of our world and the power of curiosity to lead us down these unexpected paths.
I love how one story can spark so many avenues for discussion and reflection.
Me too.
And I think that's what makes the deep dive so unique, right?
I think so.
We're not just summarizing events, we're digging deep, exploring those nuances and connections that often go unnoticed,
We're all about looking beyond the surface,
asking those thought-provoking questions,
the ones that challenge our assumptions.
and hopefully inspire our listeners to do the same.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah?
I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
This story from Nigeria might seem a world away from your own life,
Right.
but I bet you have your own Christmas fowl, so to speak. What is it, that thing you value, that tradition you cherish, that represents something special to you?
And what would you do if it were suddenly taken away?
Yeah,
How would you react? Who would you turn to for support?
it's a question worth pondering.
Because sometimes it's through those unexpected challenges that we discover what truly matters most.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world around you.
See you next time.